The most chemically polluted place on Earth isn't a nuclear disaster zone or an industrial wasteland. It's a city of 300,000 people in Russia called Dzержinsk. In this former Cold War chemical weapons hub, groundwater contains phenol levels 17 million times above safe limits. The White Sea, a 100-acre lake of toxic sludge, glows an unnatural blue-green from decades of mustard gas, sarin, and VX nerve agent production. Picture this. A single drop of that water could bleach human skin in seconds. Now imagine raising children here, where the average life expectancy plunged to a catastrophic 45 years, matching some war-torn nations. Dzержinsk sits 250 miles east of Moscow, once a secret Soviet defense manufacturing center erased from maps. Between 1930 and 1998, an estimated 300,000 tons of chemical waste were deliberately dumped into unlined pits. Today, 190 identified toxins contaminate soil and water, including dioxins that cause cancer, a parts per trillion exposure. The groundwater has risen, threatening to release this poison into the Oka River basin, drinking water for millions downstream. Researchers from the Blacksmith Institute documented catastrophic health impacts. Death rate, 17 per 1,000 people, versus Russia's national average of 14. Respiratory diseases in children, 300% above normal reproductive health disturbances. Epidemic levels eye, lung, and kidney cancers, among highest rates globally. The Guinness Book of World Records named Dzержinsk the most chemically polluted city in the world. Meet Valentina Sergeeva, a factory worker who spent 30 years producing chemical dyes. At 52, she developed kidney failure and lung scarring. Her daughter was born with immune deficiencies. Her grandson developed leukemia at age 7. 3 generations poisoned by the same factories that employed them. Yet a quarter of residents still work in the chemical industry because there's no other economy. Here's the paradox. The city looks orderly. Streets are paved, buildings stand, families go to work. It's the illusion of normalcy. Our brains equate structure with safety, even when invisible toxins accumulate in bone marrow and lung tissue. Why do people stay? Habit bias, generational roots, economic survival. The brain values familiar danger over unknown alternatives, a survival mechanism that traps people in slow death. Dzержinsk isn't just contaminated. It's a psychological experiment in whether humans can adapt to the unsurvivable. But chemical contamination is only one form of invisible death. The next place makes Dzержinsk look clean by comparison. The river we're about to visit has E. coli levels 5,000 times higher than swimmable water, and millions bathe in it daily, washing vegetables and watering crops destined for your grocery stores. 15 million people depend on this river for survival. This is the Citarum River in West Java, Indonesia, officially the world's most polluted waterway. The surface is carpeted with plastic waste, so thick you can walk across it. Beneath the debris, tests reveal E. coli bacteria 5,000 times above safe swimming levels. Bacterial densities found only in raw sewage. Yet families bathe here. Children swim here. Farmers irrigate rice paddies here. The Citarum flows 180 miles through Indonesia's most densely populated province. Over 2,000 factories, textiles, paper, electronics, dump untreated waste directly into the water daily. Add raw sewage from millions of households, and you get a toxic cocktail of heavy metals, lead, mercury, cadmium, at levels 1,000 times safe limits industrial dyes, turning the river black, red, or chemical blue, depending on the day. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria strains evolving in the waste plastic microparticles in every liter, 4 times denser than ocean garbage patches. Fishermen still pull out catches. The fish are contaminated with mercury levels 10 times the safe limit for human consumption. But when your family is hungry, toxicity becomes negotiable. Health studies document nightmare statistics. 60% of children test positive for heavy metal poisoning. Cholera and typhoid outbreaks occur. Monthly skin infections appear within hours of water contact. Hepatitis transmission rates rival active war zones. Ibusari, a mother of 3, washes her children's clothes in the Citarum every morning. Her youngest developed chronic rashes and respiratory infections before age 2. She knows the water is poison, but the nearest clean water source is 5 kilometers away, too far to carry laundry daily. Economic necessity overrides biological warning systems every single time. Dzержinsk poisons with chemicals over decades. Citarum drowns communities in waste over years. But the next location doesn't kill slowly through accumulation. It kills in 1 hour, with radiation so intense, standing near it delivers a fatal dose before you can walk away. Where touching the ground means your DNA unravels in real time. Welcome to the deadliest lake on planet Earth. You could die just by standing here. Not in days. Not in hours. In 60 minutes, standing on the shore of this lake delivers 600 roentgens of radiation, enough to kill you within weeks. This isn't Chernobyl. This isn't Fukushima. This is Lake Karachay in Russia, a deliberately created radioactive waste dump so contaminated, the Soviet government tried to concrete over it and pretend it never existed. Between 1951 and 1965, the Mayak nuclear weapons facility dumped 120 million curies of radioactive waste directly into Lake Karachay. For perspective, Chernobyl released 50 million curies over years. Lake Karachay contains 2.4 times Chernobyl's total release concentrated in a single body of water. You can't see radiation. You can't smell it. You can't taste it. But in 1967, when drought exposed the lakebed, radioactive dust spread across 25,000 square kilometers in one windstorm, affecting 500,000 people. Villages downwind experienced cancer rates 300% above normal birth defects and 20% of newborns leukemia clusters among children who played in contaminated soil shortened lifespans, averaging 52 years. Ludmila Vasilievna lost 3 children to rare cancers by age 45. Her village, Musliamovo, sits on the Teka River downstream from Mayak. No one told them about the contamination until the 1990s, 40 years after exposure began. Entire generations poisoned in silence. The lake is now officially eliminated, filled with concrete blocks and covered with earth. But groundwater contamination continues spreading. Aquifers beneath carry strontium, 90, and cesium, 137 toward river basins, serving 7,000 people. The cruelest irony: you can stand beside Lake Karachay and feel nothing. No pain, no warning, just invisible particles destroying your DNA. It's salience blindness. The brain filters threats it can't perceive. Quick thought experiment. If you saw 2 signs, one reading fatal radiation in 1 hour, and another saying dangerous predator ahead, which would trigger stronger fear? Drop an emoji in the comments. For radiation or for predator? Your answer reveals the cruel nature of salience blindness. Visible danger triggers instant panic. Invisible radiation? Nothing. Until weeks later, when symptoms appear, and it's far too late. Chemical poison, water contamination, invisible radiation. But the next place combines all 3, with a modern twist that connects directly to your pocket. It's where your old smartphone ends up. And what happens there makes nuclear waste look merciful. Your old phone probably ended up here. This is Agbogbloshie, Ghana, the world's largest e-waste dump, where 250,000 tons of discarded electronics arrive annually from Europe and North America. Workers, many of them children, burn circuit boards and melt plastics to extract copper and gold worth pennies per pound. The smoke rises thick and black, a toxic fog containing lead, mercury, cadmium, and dioxins that turns lungs black and shortens lives to an average of 30 years. Walk through Agbogbloshie, and the air itself tastes metallic. Mountains of shattered monitors, gutted laptops, tangled wiring stretch for acres. Boys as young as 12 use hammers and blowtorches to break down devices, breathing fumes that would require hazmat suits in Western nations. The ground is black. The sky is gray. The smell is acrid plastic and burning rubber mixed with chemical sweetness. Blood tests reveal lead levels 50 times above safety limits, causing neurological damage. Mercury contamination in 89% of workers, affecting kidney function. Cadmium poisoning causing kidney failure in teenagers. Dioxin exposure linked to reproductive damage and cancers. Soil samples show heavy metal concentrations 100 times higher than WHO limits. When it rains, runoff carries this poison into the Coral Lagoon. Drinking water for slum communities housing 80,000 people. Kwame is 16. He's been working at Agbogbloshie for 4 years, earning $2 to $5 per day. He has chronic cough, skin lesions that won't heal, headaches that make his vision blur. He knows this work is killing him. His older brother died at 22 from lung failure, but his family needs the money. School isn't an option. Clean work doesn't exist in his neighborhood. So every morning, he returns to the smoke. This is economic habit bias. The known danger of starvation outweighs the abstract future danger of cancer. The developed world exports poison. The developing world absorbs it. And the cycle continues. From Cold War chemicals to modern e-waste, humans engineer their own contamination zones. But there's one final place where contamination reaches a scale that seems almost biblical. A city so polluted, the air itself turns solid objects black within hours. Where breathing feels like smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. And 4 million people call it home, adapting to the unsurvivable one breath at a time. Hang white laundry outside in Linfen, China, and it turns black within 6 hours. This coal mining capital produces such extreme air pollution that residents develop black lung disease, a condition usually seen only in miners working underground. Particulate matter levels reach PM 2.5 concentrations of 500 micrograms per cubic meter, 20 times the WHO's safe limit. Breathing one day in Linfen equals smoking 40 cigarettes. No exaggeration. That's the medical consensus. Linfen sits in China's Shaanxi province, home to 2/3 of the nation's coal reserves. Hundreds of coal plants, smelters, and chemical factories operate around the clock, belching sulfur dioxide, creating acid rain that dissolves concrete nitrogen oxides, triggering respiratory collapse in elderly heavy metals, arsenic, lead, mercury, in aerosol form settling on food coal, ash coating every surface. Cars, buildings, children's playgrounds. Children are born with lung damage visible on x-rays. Elderly die at 60 from natural causes that are anything but natural. Cancer rates are 300% above national averages. Respiratory diseases affect 80% of the population over 40. Yet 4 million people remain. Why? Because coal mining employs entire families. Because relocating costs money no one has. Because this is home, even when home is killing you. From Dzerzinsk's chemical lakes to Linfen's toxic air, one question haunts these places. Why do people stay? The answer reveals the deepest blind spot in human psychology. We're wired to fear immediate, visible threats. Tigers, cliffs, fires, predators. But slow, invisible poisoning, our brains struggle to process it as danger. Dioxins accumulating in tissue over decades. Radiation damaging DNA over generations. Particulates scarring lungs breath by breath. It's the illusion of survival. If you wake up tomorrow, the danger must be tolerable. Add economic dependence, generational roots, and lack of alternatives, and you get adaptive resignation. Not stupidity. Not ignorance. Survival logic in an impossible situation. These aren't victims of ignorance. They're masters of adaptation, surviving what should kill them every single day. From Russia's chemical wastelands to Ghana's e-waste pyres, Earth's most contaminated places share one truth. Humans don't just survive the unsurvivable, we create it. 300,000 tons of chemical waste. 5,000 times bacterial contamination. Radiation lasting 24,000 years. Air pollution that blacks out the sun. These aren't natural disasters. They're calculated trade-offs between progress and poison. The lesson isn't fear, it's awareness. Understanding contamination's invisible reach lets us act intelligently, not obsessively. Because the real danger isn't always what we see. It's what we choose to ignore until it's too late. Which of these 5 extreme contamination zones shocked you most? Drop in the comments. Dzerzinsk's chemical lakes, Satarum's toxic river, Karakay's invisible radiation, Agboblishi's e-waste hell, or Linfen's black air. And if this changed how you see Earth's extremes, share it with someone who needs to know.